Some men chase money. They chase it like it's a shadow. Running faster, working harder, sacrificing sleep, health, and dignity, only to wake one morning and realize they have nothing but numbers in a bank account and emptiness in their soul. That is not success. That is not power. True. Wealth does not begin with dollars or stocks or deals. It begins with the man himself. The man who thinks, who acts, who endures, and who shapes his own mind and character. Build the man first and the money inevitably will follow. Look at history. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before the world knew him as the genius who brought light to the night. Carnegie risked every penny to build an empire that would reshape an entire nation. Henry Ford didn't merely invent cars. He invented a vision of society, a system, a future. Each of them understood a principle most men never grasp. The outer world cannot rise higher than the inner world. Wealth, power, influence, these are byproducts of discipline, belief, and clarity of purpose. Your mind is the only territory you truly control, the only asset no one can steal, the only foundation that cannot be taken unless you surrender it. Yet most men drift, letting the world shape them, letting fear, habits, and opinions dictate their worth. They fear discomfort. They worship convenience. They exchange potential for mediocrity. If you are awake right now, listening, feeling something stir in your chest, know this, that is your alarm. That is the whisper of a man who refuses to be small. Answer it. Answer it with a mind sharpened by purpose, a heart fortified by vision, and a body disciplined to serve your ambition. Clarity is your compass. You cannot stumble into greatness by accident. You cannot reach a destination you have never imagined. A man without clarity drifts into the opinions of others, into the shallow promises of society, into the traps of temporary pleasure that leave him empty at 30, 40, 50. Decide what kind of man you will become before you decide what kind of money you want. Decide the legacy you want to leave before you chase the currency of fleeting approval, because a man without a clear vision is a ship at sea with torn sails, buffeted by every storm, every trend, every fleeting distraction. Belief is the engine. If you do not believe in yourself, nothing else will matter. Every master, every titan, every man whose name history remembers faced ridicule, doubt, and scorn. Yet Edison believed his vision of electric light would illuminate the world. Carnegie believed his steel would bind a nation together. Ford believed machines could change lives. Belief is not blind hope. It is a rigorous insistence that you are capable, that your work is worth it, and that no obstacle is permanent. Belief is what transforms fear into fuel, hesitation into momentum, and setbacks into stepping stones. Discipline is the unglamorous muscle that builds the man. Talent is nothing without it. Ideas are worthless without it. It is waking at dawn while others sleep. It is finishing what others abandon. It is embracing the monotony, the repetition, the grind, knowing that each disciplined step is invisible currency deposited into the bank of your future. You cannot borrow it. You cannot shortcut it. You cannot fake it. Discipline compounds. It multiplies. It becomes identity, and the man with identity cannot be ignored. Action is where dreams die or are born. Too many men admire, study, and strategize, and then wait for the right moment. Edison didn't wait. Carnegie didn't wait. Ford didn't wait. They acted. They failed. They adapted. They acted again. The world rewards motion, courage, and stubborn persistence more than genius alone. Money is drawn to men who move toward it with conviction, not those who simply wish it existed. Build the man who acts, relentlessly, unapologetically, with fire in his chest, and the world will respond. Resilience is the armor that separates men who endure from men who break. Life does not negotiate. Life does not apologize. It will crush you with betrayal, failure, and injustice if you let it. Abraham Lincoln lost elections, businesses, and loved ones before he led a nation through its darkest hours. Walt Disney went bankrupt and was rejected dozens of times before he built an empire of imagination. Resilience is not the absence of struggle. It is the decision to rise again, stronger, smarter, and fiercer. Every single time the world knocks you down, every failure is not a verdict, it is a lesson. Every setback is not a wall, it is a guidepost, pointing you toward the man you must become. Adaptability is the strategy of survival and the art of dominance. The world shifts, industries vanish, technology evolves. Men who cannot bend, cannot innovate, cannot learn, they die in obscurity. Ford didn't just build cars. He adapted his vision to a changing economy. Edison didn't just invent the light bulb. He adapted to failure after failure, refining, improving, and iterating. To survive is to bend without breaking. To thrive is to bend, then take the next step forward with audacious intent. You must be like water, soft enough to flow around obstacles, yet powerful enough to carve canyons through stone. Gratitude is the invisible force that fuels perseverance. Every man chasing success is tempted to envy, to resentment, to obsession with what he lacks. But gratitude transforms scarcity into opportunity. It sharpens perspective. It honors the small victories, the hours spent learning, the sacrifices made, the mentors who guide, the failures that instruct. A man who is grateful is a man who notices the tools at his disposal, who converts every challenge into leverage, who sees abundance even when the world whispers scarcity. Gratitude is not weakness, it is power disguised as humility. Learning is the weapon that multiplies every effort. Carnegie read incessantly. Edison experimented ceaselessly. Lincoln studied tirelessly. Knowledge without application is mere decoration. Learning without adaptation is wasted effort. But a man who devotes himself to mastery, who absorbs lessons from the past, who seeks insight in every encounter becomes unstoppable. The mind of a learner is a furnace, forging ideas into action, mistakes into wisdom, and ambition into results. Every skill acquired, every insight gained, every failure analyzed adds layers to the man that no money, no power, no circumstance can remove. Purpose is the magnet that draws opportunity. Without purpose, effort is aimless, time wasted, potential squandered. Purpose is more than a goal. It is the axis of your life, the reason you endure pain. Rise before dawn and refuse compromise. Henry Ford did not merely build automobiles. He built mobility, freedom, and a vision of society reshaped by progress. Carnegie did not merely produce steel. He built infrastructure, education, and the means for millions to rise. The man with purpose is irresistible to the world, not because he seeks applause, but because the universe cannot ignore the force of conviction aligned with action. Vision is the lens through which the impossible becomes inevitable. A man without vision sees only what exists. A man with vision sees what can exist. Edison saw light in a world of darkness. Disney saw magic in a world of cynicism. Lincoln saw unity in a nation divided. Vision turns setbacks into strategy, scarcity into innovation, doubt into determination. Vision is what separates those who react from those who create. And when vision merges with purpose, discipline, and action, the man becomes a force that commands respect, attention, and ultimately reward. Every morning you wake, you face a choice: drift or dominate. You can surrender to distraction, to comfort, to the slow decay of mediocrity. Or you can rise, sharpen your mind, fortify your body, and cultivate the man who deserves the life you dream of. Build him in silence. Build him when no one is watching. Build him through discomfort, through rejection, through long nights and early mornings. Build him so fiercely, so relentlessly, that the world has no choice but to meet him with opportunity, respect, and yes, the wealth that follows only the man prepared to wield it. Because the truth is brutal and beautiful. Money is a shadow. Influence is a shadow. Success is a shadow. The substance, the core. The real victory is the man who earns it. The mind he trains. The character he forges. The courage he refuses to abandon. Build that man. Temper him in adversity. Enlighten him with learning. Empower him with purpose. Fortify him with resilience. And then one day, when the world finally bends to his will, he will not be surprised. He will not be unready. He will stand unshakable and watch the rewards flow, not because he chased them, but because he became the man they could not ignore. And now, hear this, the world will not hand you greatness. It will not pause to admire your ambition. It will not wait for you to feel ready. Fortune is not polite. It does not knock gently. It favors the man who has forged himself in fire, who has stared into the abyss and returned stronger, who refuses to be moved by fear, doubt, or distraction. That man, the man you are building every hour, every morning, every choice, he commands the currents of life. He does not chase, he attracts. He does not beg, he earns. He does not hope, he acts. Every obstacle you face is not a wall. It is a sculptor shaping your character. Every rejection is not a failure. It is a teacher delivering wisdom in disguise. Every moment of pain, frustration, or uncertainty is a test of the man within. And make no mistake, the man who passes these tests The man who does not flinch, does not compromise, does not settle. He is the man for whom money is no longer a goal, but a reflection of mastery. Because wealth does not follow desire. It follows the man who embodies value, vision, and unyielding resolve. Think of Edison in his lab, surrounded by darkness, literally and metaphorically. Each bulb that failed was a lesson. Each spark that didn't light the room was a whisper. Learn, adapt, persist. He could have given up. He could have let despair define him. But he didn't. He became the man who refuses to surrender, who refuses to compromise, who refuses to let the world decide his limits. That is the man you are forging. That is the man who earns not just money, but respect, influence, and the quiet power of knowing he is unstoppable. Do not be distracted by the applause of others. Do not be seduced by shortcuts, by trends, by the shallow illusions of overnight success. The man who is built in silence, in patience, in relentless discipline, is the man who walks into a room and shifts the air with presence alone. Money will flow to him because the universe recognizes mastery, commitment, and unwavering purpose. Opportunity gravitates toward the man who has already conquered himself. Influence bows to the man who refuses to be shaken. And success, true, lasting success, becomes inevitable. This is your call, not tomorrow, not when the timing feels right, not when fear disappears. Today, in this moment, decide to sculpt yourself. Decide to wake before the world wakes. Decide to study, to learn, to build resilience, to endure discomfort. Decide to act when others hesitate, to push when others pause, to rise when others fall. Become the man who will not be ignored. Become the man who embodies the principles the world cannot ignore. Clarity, belief, purpose, vision, discipline, adaptability, resilience, gratitude, learning, and relentless action. Imagine him, the man who faces challenges with courage, the man whose mind is sharp, whose habits are refined, whose purpose is unshakable, the man who does not flinch at criticism, who does not collapse under failure, who does not bow to distraction. That man exists within you. He is not some distant dream. He is the accumulation of every choice you make today, every morning you conquer, every hour you dedicate to mastery. Build him, feed him, strengthen him. And when he stands fully formed, fully prepared, the world will have no choice but to yield. And here is the truth most men never grasp. Money will never satisfy a man who is not built. Power will never reward a man who is hollow. Influence will never bow to a man who lacks depth. The world responds to substance. It responds to vision. It responds to the man who commands himself before commanding the world. Build that man, and every reward you seek, every ambition you chase, every dream you dare to dream, will be nothing but the natural consequence of a life forged in mastery. So rise in silence, rise in solitude, rise with the certainty of a man who knows that every discomfort is a step, every failure is a lesson, and every moment of effort compounds into an unstoppable force. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for opportunity. Do not wait for luck. Become the man, and the world will bend to meet him. Money, influence, success, they are not the goal. They are the shadow cast by a man who refuses to be ordinary, who refuses to be average, who refuses to drift. Build the man. Strengthen the mind. Sharpen the vision. Fortify the purpose. Temper the character. And when the world sees him, when opportunity arrives, when success knocks, it will find you ready. It will find you unshakable. It will find you inevitable. And then, and only then, will you understand the real secret. The man comes first. The rest, the wealth, the recognition, the legacy will follow. Always.